Welcome to the Full Moon Film Buff, episode 153. We're going to talk about Mexican Werewolf in Texas from 2005. I rented this from Scarecrow Video, and I had not seen this before. As always, we start with the prominent crew and cast. You can find links to a more complete credit list in the show notes. The film was written and directed by Scott McGinnis. Creature design was by James Klein, Ron Carasoca, and Mark Villalobos. This film is one of the few that Scott McGinnis wrote and directed. He has a much more prolific career in art departments as a property master and set director. He's worked on films like 12 Monkeys, Independence Day, Inception, and Thor: Love and Thunder. He's done TV shows like Eastbound and Down, Extant, and Snowfall. James Klein has worked as a film industry artist for well over a decade. The highlights include working with Spielberg on AI and Minority Report, Cameron on Avatar and Battle Angel, Abrams on both Star Trek films, ILM on recent Star Wars films, and Michael Bay on Transformers, among others. Mark Villalobos is a talented makeup and special effects artist with over 100 credits to his name. So far, he's still going. We'll see his work again at least a couple of times in House of the Wolfman in 2009, when we get there, and Werewolf Rising in 2014. Other notable films he's worked on include Screamers in 1995, The Prophecy also from 1995, and Sky High in 2005. This is the only film on Ron Carasoca's IMDb page. The cast includes Erica Faye as Anna Furlow, Gabriel Gutierrez as Miguel Gonzalez, Michael Carrillo as Tommy, Martine Hughes as Rosie, Sarah Erickson as Jill Gillespie, Louis Cruz Beltran as Manny Gonzalez, Mark Halverson as Brad Furlow, Wolfgang Metzger as Cabot Spears, Elizabeth Del Sol as Maria, and Colin Pulsifer as the Chupacabra. Pertinent to this film, Gabriel Gutierrez was born and raised in Mexico City. He began performing at the age of 13 and is best known for his work on From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, Without a Trace, Blue Bloods, and this film. This was Sarah Erickson's first film role. After a series of television roles, she received her second feature film role in 2008 in the Bernie Mac Samuel L. Jackson film Soul Men. She's known for her recurring role as Robin Marquette, Vince's scheming ex-girlfriend and co-worker in What I Like About You. She made 2 guest appearances on the long-running sitcom 2.5 Men, portraying a different character each time. I personally recognized her from a YouTube short, Princess Rap Battles, where she played Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings, facing off against Princess Leia from Star Wars. This film is Elizabeth Del Sol's second film, and her second role in a Chupacabra film. She went on to a brief decade-long career. Michael Carrero had 3 film roles. Martine Hughes appeared in 2 films and 1 TV show. Mark Halverson and Erica Faye have 2 credits to their name, and this film is Colin Pulsifer, Louis Cruz Beltran, and Wolfgang Metzger's only acting credit. This is false advertising. There is no werewolf, despite the title. While it tries to explore cultural divides and xenophobia, the film ultimately falls flat due to poor execution, underwhelming effects, and severely inconsistent performances. That said, it does have a certain low-budget charm that might appeal to fans of obscure horror who enjoy films that are so bad that they're occasionally good. There was a real attempt here to make a good movie exploring a serious thematic metaphor. On the downside, the film title just reminds me of a specific, better werewolf movie that you ought to watch instead, An American Werewolf in London. Our narrator is Anna Furlow, a teenager desperate to escape the small town that shares her last name. Her friends include her best friend Rosie, her boyfriend Miguel Gonzalez, and Jill Gillespie. Furlow is a small Texas border town and self-proclaimed goat capital of the world. The mythical Chupacabra begins terrorizing the local goat herds. At first, it drains the blood from goats, but it soon moves on to small dogs. Anna appears to be related to half the town. Miguel's dad is the town veterinarian. Miguel and a few other Mexicans are the only ones who believe that it's the Chupacabra doing the killings. The whites in town are clueless and range from mildly racist to extremely racist. The Mexican population in town decides to hunt the Chupacabra. The teens hire an eccentric cryptozoologist named Cabot Spears to capture the creature. Cabot believes that the Chupacabra is an alien pet, and he wants to trade the Chupacabra for his dog, which he believes aliens abducted. The Chupacabra graduates to attacking and killing humans who have the scent of animal blood on them. The hunt looks way more like a big drunk party than an actual hunt. The Chupacabra kills Jill's boyfriend Tommy after she runs away with his shotgun. Anna's father Brad finds out that she's dating a Mexican and buys a whole bunch of goat hides, which he uses to make a Chupacabra costume. The next night, the beast kills Miguel's sister Maria and one of Anna's distant relatives. Rosie sees it kill the town butcher. Anna's parents find condoms in her room and are furious at the idea that their daughter is having sex, much less with a Mexican American. Anna runs away from home for obvious reasons. More random people die. The teens stake out a baited trap. Meanwhile, Brad plots to kill Miguel and frame the Chupacabra for his death. Jeez, he disguises himself as a Chupacabra, wielding a meat fork whose tines kind of resemble the creature's fangs, and stalks Miguel. Now, Miguel mistakes him for the actual Chupacabra and shoots at him. When Brad runs away, the actual Chupacabra gets him. The girls find Anna's dad dead. The beast kills Rosie. Jill distracts it by flashing her breasts. It is the funniest moment in the film. Anna then runs it over several times to save the day. While there is no werewolf, there is an intriguing transformation of Brad into, well, a version of the Chupacabra. His racist and xenophobic attitudes can only be expressed by putting him in a monster costume. Manny Gonzalez is a professional veterinarian. Miguel fits in with the other high school kids. He has no discernible accent. Brad just hates Mexicans enough to dress up in a small goat hide costume and kill one. Ugh, creepy. Now, with no werewolf, there's no werewolf lore to talk about. So, let's talk Chupacabra lore instead. The name literally means goat sucker in Spanish, and this creature went from a local Puerto Rican mystery to a worldwide phenomenon in just a few years. The story begins in 1995 near the town of Canavanas. Local farmers were finding dead livestock under strange circumstances. 8 sheep were discovered completely drained of blood, with only small puncture wounds visible, and no other signs that a normal predator had attacked them. When similar attacks began happening to goats and other livestock, the local media came up with the name Chupacabra. The legend took off when Madeline Tolentino claimed that she saw the creature in August 1995. The Spanish-language television networks picked up the story and broadcast it throughout Latin America. Soon, people were reporting Chupacabra sightings in Mexico, Central America, and even parts of the United States. Here's where things get interesting. People describe 2 completely different types of creatures depending upon where they see it. The original Puerto Rican version sounds like an alien. The creature stands upright, about 3 to 4 feet tall. It has large black eyes, grayish-green skin, and rows of spines or quills running down its back. People say that it moves by hopping like a kangaroo, and that it gives off a terrible sulfur smell. But in Mexico and the southwestern United States, people describe something totally different. This version resembles a hairless dog or a wolf. It walks on 4 legs, has big fangs and claws. Now, it still has the same grayish, hairless skin. The dog-like version is what most people think of today when they hear Chupacabra, but not everybody. Now, several things helped the legend grow quickly. First, farmers were genuinely finding dead livestock that they couldn't explain. Second, this was happening during a time when people were already fascinated by UFOs and alien stories. Third, many rural communities were facing economic hardship, so losing valuable farm animals was devastating. The Chupacabra gave people something to blame for their losses. Scientists believe that they know what's really behind Chupacabra sightings. Many recovered Chupacabra bodies have been tested and turn out to be normal animals that are suffering from a skin disease called mange. We have talked about mange before. A mangy dog or coyote can sometimes look like a monster to someone who's never seen the disease before. Wild dog packs can also attack livestock in ways that seem unusual to people unfamiliar with how predators behave. And as for the mysterious blood draining, that's usually explained by normal decomposition and insects feeding on the carcass. While people still do report Chupacabra sightings, interest peaked in the late 90s and early 2000s. The creature became part of popular culture, appearing in movies like this one, TV shows, and video games. Unlike older monster legends that took decades or even centuries to spread, the Chupacabra went global in just a few years, thanks to modern media. The Chupacabra may not be real, but its impact certainly is. It shows us how people create new folklore to deal with modern problems. Ancient humans told stories about monsters in the forest. Modern humans tell stories about monsters that might be the result of aliens or government experiments. The Chupacabra proves that we still need monster stories. These stories help us process fears that are too big or too complex to face directly. As one of the youngest major monster legends, the Chupacabra bridges the gap between traditional folklore and modern urban legends. It reminds us that the human need to create and share stories about the unknown is just as strong today as it ever was. So let's talk about xenophobia and racial tension. This film employs the mythical Chupacabra as more than just a monster movie fodder. It serves as a complex metaphor for xenophobia and the treatment of immigrant communities in border regions. Though the film lacks subtlety, its central conceit reveals troubling dynamics about how society constructs and responds to perceived threats from the other. The Chupacabra itself is the ultimate manifestation of anti-immigrant fear, a literal alien creature that crosses borders without permission and commits acts of violence. By casting this cryptid as an extremely violent form of the illegal alien, the film makes explicit what often remains subtext in immigration discourse: the conflation of foreignness with danger, and the unknown with the threatening. Now, the creature's disregard for national borders reflects nativist anxieties about territorial sovereignty and the ability to control who or what enters a community, and those are real. More insidious is the film's exploration of expertise versus trust. The Mexican-American characters possess crucial knowledge about combating the monster, yet they find themselves marginalized and suspected by the very community that they could protect. This dynamic mirrors real-world scenarios where immigrant communities' cultural knowledge, language skills, or regional expertise are simultaneously needed and distrusted by dominant groups. The film suggests that prejudice creates dangerous blind spots, where bias prevents communities from utilizing all the available resources and wisdom. Now, the film complicates easy moral judgments here by acknowledging how both sides do contribute to cultural tensions. The Mexican-American characters in the movie deliberately speak Spanish around English speakers, engaging in a form of linguistic exclusion that, while it's understandable as a response to marginalization, it just provides ammunition for those who are already inclined towards prejudice. This detail reflects the messy reality of intercultural relations, where defensive behaviors born from discrimination can inadvertently reinforce the very stereotypes that we're protesting against. Brad's ultimate plan to murder Miguel using the Chupacabra as a cover represents the extreme endpoint of scapegoating, the willingness to sacrifice an innocent person to maintain a preferred narrative about who poses the real threat. By harming an actual human being while allowing a genuine monster to remain free, Brad embodies how prejudice can become so consuming that it overrides basic moral reasoning and community safety. The film's heavy-handed approach may diminish its artistic merit, but its central metaphor does remain potent. When communities allow fear and prejudice to override practical cooperation, everyone becomes more vulnerable to actual dangers. The real monster may not be the one crossing borders, but the one that hatred creates within seemingly civilized people. The Chupacabra serves as both a literal threat and a symbolic mirror, reflecting the monstrous potential that emerges when prejudice is allowed to consume reason, compassion, and community solidarity. Now, this is the first time I've encountered the possibility of aliens in the Werewolf project, but it's not the first werewolf movie that raises the intersection of aliens and werewolves. That appears to be a German movie called Space Wolf from 2003. Unfortunately, I haven't found out how to watch it yet. Hopefully, I will find a way someday. So I'm not going to go into too much depth here, since werewolves and aliens are generally concepts that don't seem to mesh well. And more importantly, that's not what's happening in this movie. Chupacabra and aliens go together so much better. So if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan on discussing Bloods versus Wolves from 2006. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bullet in the chamber, and we'll see you back next episode.